Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Ultimate Job Search and Career Podcast. I am Bill, the company's expert. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the job interview question, what do you know of our company? Or what do you know about our company? This is a standard job interview question. Now, I've done videos before that talk about this question and gives you the sort of standard answer. And just to briefly recap here, the standard answer to this question is simply to have done 5 minutes of research before your job interview on the internet. Get on the internet and Google the company. And if they have a website, you look at their website and get a few basic facts off their website. Now, standard things are how big the company is, where the company is located, if they're just in one location or they're distributed across the region or the country or the world, what industry they're in, what do they do, what products do they sell or what services do they sell, and things like this. Now, I've heard other people recommend, that you should know the name of the CEO and things like this. I don't think that's necessary. Okay, but that would be a reasonable answer. Now, I would go even further and say that, for me personally, what I consider to be an excellent answer to this is if a candidate can, in addition to saying, what industry you're in and what products you sell and what services you sell, they'd also be able to say, what your competitive edge might be. For example, they could say, well, I know that you guys sell this product and this service. And my understanding is that a lot of your competitors, they either sell the product or they sell the service, but they don't do both. You guys do both. You provide both of those. So it seems to me like that would be a real competitive edge that you guys have that nobody else does. And that's what makes this exciting. To me, that would be an amazing way to answer the question. If you could tell that to the interviewer, that would go a long way. And it goes without saying that if the interviewer is the business owner or a high-level manager, that would really strike a chord with them, okay? So that's kind of the standard way of asking it. But here's the deal. I think that this is a very arrogant question to ask in the first place. A lot of times, only larger organizations ask this question. And it's the reasoning behind asking this question and how they evaluate you based on your answer that I find particularly interesting, okay? There's a lot of ego issues going on with this question. And a lot of times, if you're a candidate, you could be walking into a situation and you don't know what answer these people want to hear. So you just kind of walk into this. And you might give a reasonable answer, but unbeknownst to you, it can disqualify you. So that's why I wanted to talk about it here today. Now, here's the deal. It has been well established that people who, how can I put this? They have only had maybe one career job. They've spent their entire career in one place, okay? And they haven't had the benefit of working for multiple employers and seeing multiple ways of doing a job and seeing multiple different alternative cultures and different solutions to the same problems. If you've only stayed in one place, you lack that knowledge. And a couple of things happen. First of all, you have a certain ignorance of what else there is out there. Okay, number one. Number two, you tend to overestimate the importance of your company. You think that your company is much more important than it actually is. You feel that other people should know about your company more than what's reasonable. And you get this overinflated sense of importance and prominence, which is a distortion of reality, basically. That's kind of some of the things that are going on with this. So if you get a larger organization where the interviewer, whoever the interviewer is, whether they're a recruiter or hiring manager, they could be the business owner, they're asking this question, okay? What matters is what their expectations are for the candidate's answer. Okay. Now, if a company has farmed out a lot of their recruitment and selection to an independent HR company, okay, so, the HR company that is organizing the job interview, they're sort of interviewing you on behalf of their client, right? Who's this big company, right? You can probably give a reasonable answer to this question and they would be fine with it. You would say like, look, I mean, I know that, this company is in this industry. They sell this product. They have approximately this many employees. They're located here and over in this other location. And they've been around for 20 years, something like that. That might be a reasonable answer. And that would satisfy the recruiter who works for an independent company. However, if you were to give that same answer to somebody who actually works for the company that's hiring you, okay, they're not going through some broker, you're dealing directly with them. So when you go for your job interview, you're going, onto that company's property, you're interviewing with company employees, right? And they ask you this question. They say, what do you know of our company? Well, number one, the fact that they're asking you this question could signal that they have a little bit of an ego issue. The attitude is like, well, you should know all about us, right? That may not be what's going on, but it could signal that, right? Alternatively, if the person interviewing you, if the interviewer is someone, like I said, who hasn't worked many places in their career, they may tend to overestimate the importance of the company they work for. They might have this arrogant attitude that, well, everybody should know about us and how we do things, and that's not necessarily a reasonable expectation, okay? Now, we often see this syndrome, at least I certainly have, with business owners and executive managers. They tend to feel that their organization is really important. Excuse me. Their entire lives are wrapped around this organization. They're wrapped up in this organization. And so a lot of times they're not really able to empathize with people who just don't consider this company that big of a deal, right? Especially if you're the owner, you tend to think it's really important. And you tend to assume that a lot of people have heard of it and know all about it when they haven't, right? And nor should they, really. So my point is that if that's the situation with you, if you go to a job interview with a large organization and you're not dealing with some intermediary HR company, you're dealing with the company itself, and they ask you this question, and they're a large organization, you may have to artificially inflate your answer here. You may have to inject a lot of praise and give a longer answer to this question, or you run the risk of not meeting the lofty, unrealistic expectations of the interviewer for this question. This is something I've seen, and it's something that I've certainly been on the other side of, but I've seen others do it. And it's a very real phenomenon. You're dealing with a lot of ego issues. And the fact that they ask this question can signal that. So that's something I wanted to bring up, and I hope that makes sense to everybody. Let me know in the comments what you think of this, if you've encountered this type of thing before. And I appreciate any feedback. Thank you so much for listening. You guys are awesome. And I hope to see or hear you again on the next episode of the Ultimate Job Search and Career Podcast. Thank you very much. Take care.